mất tiền.
Đợt này nó đang tốt quá.
Vườn rau đẹp quá, cái đời thấy nhỉ.
One kilogram of this vegetable costs less than 50 cents. A few hours later, the exact same vegetable can sell for nearly $1. I wanted to see what happens in between. Just a few minutes' drive from one of Vietnam's largest industrial zones, there is a completely different world. It's much quieter here. The first thing I noticed was the long rows of vegetables stretching behind the houses. Almost every open piece of land is used to grow vegetables. From the outside, it just looks like a quiet, residential area. But every day, vegetables from these gardens are sent to markets across the city and nearby regions.
Nghề nông thì ai chẳng giống nhau.
Còn tưới này thì nó không có được đẹp bằng mấy bằng cái tưới.
Rồi anh phải dần nha, anh tạo. Đi theo luống vậy đó.
The garden beds here are very neat and even. Each bed is about 4 feet wide and 100 to 130 feet long. The soil is shaped into raised beds. Weeds are cleared, and the plants are cared for almost every day. For families who depend on this land, almost every bit of space matters. Right after one harvest is finished, they immediately start preparing for the next one.
Mình làm món phần cút rồi hả?
Hả?
Cái này là phần cút đúng không?
Gà.
Phần gà hả? Ồ, cái này tốt lắm à.
A layer of rice, husks, and composted chicken manure is spread over the soil. Then, the soil is mixed and prepared for the next crop. Here, a new planting cycle begins almost as soon as the old one ends. A small, gas-powered tiller is ready to go in about 5 minutes. The machine loosens the soil and mixes in the fertilizer. About 30 years ago, this work was done mostly by hand. One person with a hoe could spend almost half a day doing the same job. This small machine doesn't replace the farmers. It just helps them do this part faster, so they have time for other tasks in the field. While the husband prepares the soil, the wife takes care of the vegetable beds that were planted about 2 weeks ago. When the plants are about 2 to 3 inches tall, some are thinned out, so the remaining ones have more space to grow. The pulled-up plants are not wasted either. Some are moved to other soil beds and replanted. This way, they can reuse the young plants instead of throwing them away. After finishing the tilling and fertilizing, the husband moves on to the next step. He presses his finger into the soft soil to make a small hole, then plants each seedling by hand. This motion is repeated over and over, bed after bed. He barely speaks. He just keeps working. A day in the field consists of many small tasks like this. And all of them must be finished before the next crop cycle begins. no one needs to call out. No one needs to tell the other what to do. The wife simply picks up the remaining seedlings and continues her work. For the next 20 minutes, I barely heard the two of them talk. There was only music playing from a small speaker, and the sound of their footsteps moving between the rows. When the last bed is planted, the husband lifts a shoulder pole with 2 buckets of water. Each bucket holds about 5 gallons, scooped from a small pond in the middle of the garden. He walks along the newly planted row. Water flows gently onto the soil and soaks into the roots of each young plant. These seedlings were just moved from the soil bed where they had been growing for 2 weeks. So, after being transplanted, they need to be watered immediately. Both of them are over 60 years old. For more than 20 years, they have been waking up together before sunrise, walking out to this garden, and doing these familiar chores. They raised their children from the income they made here, and they have kept working this garden for years. After watering, the work is still not done. The newly planted seedlings are still quite fragile and cannot handle strong sunlight yet. So, they insert U-shaped iron frames along the bed. Then, they cover the frames with a thin black mesh. The net protects the young plants from the strong sun during their first few days. About 3 days later, the farmer will remove this net. By then, the plants are stronger and ready to be out in the open. After that, the plants can stay uncovered. They are left in the sun, wind, and rain. The farmers keep watering the beds, checking on the plants, and taking care of any problems until harvest day. These vegetables will keep growing outdoors until they are ready for the market. The garden beds here aren't all planted on the same day. Each bed is spaced a few days apart, sometimes even a week. So when one bed is harvested, another one is already big enough to take its place. That way, a portion of the crops is harvested every single day. And the vegetable trucks keep leaving the field around 9 p.m. Most families grow 4 or 5 different types of vegetables. Every day, they harvest a small part of the garden and send it to the market. Then, they prepare seeds, fertilizer, and soil for the next crop. At a certain time of day, the whole garden suddenly turns blurry. It's not early morning fog. Hundreds of small sprinklers are spraying water into the air all at once. They are connected to plastic pipes buried under the ground. Only the sprinkler heads stick up, about 2 feet high, just enough for the water to cover the beds. The water is pumped from a well drilled about 160 feet deep underground. The system runs twice a day, for about 10 minutes each time. During those 10 minutes, the water slowly soaks into the soil and wets the vegetables. A thin layer of water rests on the leaves before the day gets hot. The farmers here don't water continuously. They only turn the system on when needed and turn it off after 10 minutes. Right next to the garden is a neighbor's house. Today, they just cut down a ripe banana bunch from the tree.
Nào đợt này ông lại mắt lại tèm nhèm quá chứ. Mọi khi thấy đốm cái là cắt rồi.
Làm gì có bà đi.
Thế này là trong mấy cái này thì chậm nhưng mà cái kia chắc nữa. Đó. Có cái nhìn chả nhìn cũng thấy.
Con liền.
I asked to buy a hand of bananas. With a few quick cuts, a hand is separated from the bunch. The owner picks out a nice one for me. Then he snaps off a banana, peels it, and eats it right there on the spot. He doesn't say a word. I look at the bunch that was just cut down, then at the banana in his hand. Around here, there's really no need to say much about a fresh, tree-ripened banana. Vegetables fill the garden, but along the fence, they grow quite a lot of bananas. In gardens like this, banana trees are everywhere. A banana plant usually grows small shoots around its base, which slowly grow into new trees. Once the mother tree bears fruit and is harvested, people usually chop it down. The young shoots next to it will keep growing. So around one root, you'll see trees at many different stages. Back to the vegetable beds. About 40 days ago, these plants were still very small. Today is harvest day. Row by row, the vegetables are pulled or cut close to the roots. They shake off the dirt and pack them into large baskets. Everyone works fast. In just a few hours, these bundles will leave the garden and head to the wholesale market. From there, they go to local markets near industrial zones and neighboring provinces. By the next morning, Buyers will see these vegetables on display. But by then, they've already traveled a long way from these garden beds.
Cái sọt đó 30 kg không cô? Yeah.
40 days ago, they were just tiny plants. For 40 days, the farmers watered, weeded, shaded, and cared for them every single day. And today, everything is harvested, loaded up, and sent out. The very next day, they start a brand new crop. While filming, I started hearing music. At first, I didn't know where it was coming from. Not from a house, and not from a phone. Then I saw a small speaker hanging right in the middle of the field. Familiar songs echoed across the rows. Everyone just kept working like usual. They've probably heard these songs 1,000 times. Out here, a speaker in the middle of the field is just a normal thing. The first thing I noticed wasn't the vegetable beds, but the house. The house takes up only a tiny corner of the land. Behind it are row after row of vegetables. I barely saw any empty space. Almost all of the land is used for farming. After being harvested from the field, the mustard greens are brought here to be washed. They wash the vegetables in a concrete basin holding about 500 gallons of water. While soaking, the plants absorb water to stay fresh longer. And here's a neighbor. Today, they are harvesting two types of vegetables, mustard greens and Malabar spinach. These are very common vegetables in daily Vietnamese meals. Mustard greens are usually used for soups or hot pots. Malabar spinach is often cooked in soup with fish or pork. Both are very easy to cook. A simple pot of soup is enough for a family meal. I learned that around 9 p.m. They will be taken to the wholesale market. From there, traders will take them to traditional markets across the city and nearby areas. Watching the vegetables loaded onto the motorbikes, I started paying attention to how they transport them. There are no refrigerated trucks here. No special vehicles waiting. No large storage facility behind the garden either. The leaves are still wet from washing, and the roots still have a bit of dirt on them. Yet in just a few hours, these bundles will be at the markets. I wanted to see where they go before reaching the buyers, so I decided to follow this motorbike. At 9 p.m., the bikes start leaving the gardens and heading toward the wholesale market. These bikes are small enough to navigate alleys only about 10 feet wide. The garden is only about 2 miles from the market. The vegetables are cut in the late afternoon, and they're already on the move. Most of this happens at night. Now I understand why they don't need a large cold storage facility next to the garden. The vegetables are harvested, washed, and quickly sent out overnight. While most people are sleeping, these motorbikes are out on the road. And by the next morning, the bundles are already sitting on market stalls. What's interesting is that the farmers don't sell directly to consumers. They bring the vegetables to the wholesale market. Here, the produce is weighed by the kilogram and sold for about 40 to 50 cents per kilogram. Then, middlemen buy them and distribute them to traditional markets across the city and nearby areas. So when buyers see these vegetables the next morning, they've passed through at least one middleman. By then, the price is higher, ranging from 60 cents to nearly $1 per kilogram, depending on the area and market conditions. This routine repeats almost every day, all year round. With about 16, 0 to 21, 500 square feet of land, the couple can make around $1, 0 to $1, 200 a month. To be honest, before coming here, I didn't think a plot of land like this could generate that kind of income. It's actually higher than what many factory workers make in the industrial parks just a few miles away. But the income isn't the whole story. A factory worker has fixed shift hours. When their shift ends, they go home and they get weekends off. When they get sick, they have insurance and company benefits. Out here, it's a different story. There are no fixed days off. Rain or shine, they have to be in the field. If the vegetables are ready to be harvested, rain can't stop them. The crops won't wait a few extra days just because it's raining. And that's the part, the $1. 0 to $1, 200 a month figure doesn't show. What I'm seeing today actually started weeks ago. From planting the seeds to harvest day, the farmers do so much work. Yet, there are still things completely out of their control. The weather can change. Market prices can fluctuate. After all that labor, the final outcome still depends on many other factors. Tomorrow, these bundles will end up at a local market. A buyer will take them home. In just a few hours, they might be served at a family dinner. And back here, the work continues. The harvested beds will be prepared again. New seeds will be planted in the soil, and another cycle begins. This is the daily rhythm of these gardens. And honestly, if I hadn't come here myself, I would never have known that the vegetables I see at the market every morning started in a place like this.
Vậy hả? Vâng,
Thank
chào
you
anh
for
chị ạ.
watching, and I'll see you in the next video.